are on governing board are either already gone for spring break or they're in hearings right now, so wish them luck. And so for that reason, what we're going to do, and hopefully we can continue this in the future, but we thought it'd be a good opportunity for everyone to get up, and you don't have to like sit the entire Senate. We're going to have all of the governing members sort of circulate amongst like senators, and you guys can all get up and go to whichever governing board member you want to hear from, and that way you can stay informed. We had a really good conversation, I think we can all agree, at caucus last week, and we're trying to, as Senate leadership, come up with ways to address all things that were brought up. And one of the things that we noticed was coming up is that we want more communication between governing board and Senate. And so hopefully now reports can be done in a way that's not just someone talking to you the whole time, but instead of you actually engaging with the governing board members, getting to know them, knowing what the committees are up to, and if you're curious about potentially taking on their jobs in the future, getting to know what they do better and asking questions. So with that, I'll provide about like, how long do y'all think you need? Like what, 3 minutes maybe? Is that good? Okay, so for the next 3 minutes, maybe can the three of you maybe like divide like 3, and then whoever, like go talk to whichever governing board member you prefer. And normally we'll do like 3 cycles. For today, I'll just sort of like gauge at the 3-minute mark if people want to rotate or if you would rather not. But for now, why don't we all get up and just go to whatever board member you want to ask questions to. For anyone who's new, do the governing members want to introduce yourselves really briefly? Just say like your name and what you represent so people know who to go to.
Hello.
Does this work? My name is Sydney, pronouns are she, her, and I am the Student Services Director.
I'm Abby, I'm the Academic Affairs Director.
My name's Ben, pronouns he, him. I am the comptroller.
My name's Tay, my pronouns are she, hers, and I'm the Chief Diversity Officer.
I think that's everyone from the Gov Board besides me. But yeah, so my name is Irene. For anyone who's new, I'm the speaker and I run Senate. So for whichever committee or branch you're interested in talking to, just head over to your Gov Board members, and then at the 3-minute mark, we'll reconvene and get a sense of if we want to do a cycle. Sound good? Okay.
Stop it! I want to so bad.
Well, I missed the instructions.
So getting involved?
Yeah.
I missed
John, Peter, and Ray, Chris, and Jack. Jack's running. Yes, Jack's working. Jack had a ball. Service proceedings.
Oh wow. And we have everything active.
Now it's going to be
So we fix well, I have 3 mental products for 500 students.
sometime in the fall. That will be
Community bike rides every Sunday, whether
that will be more central.
I don't
really know what that means.
every Sunday, 2 p.m. Also, free community ride. Put it in your calendar. April 16th, also be number. We have some mental health. As well as actually like they did
I know that's been brought up.
So we did Okay. Okay, actually, we're doing it better. Thank you. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah, I also talked about this. I've heard that people more people use it than we do.
Yeah.
So,
Same format, like I just do the same overarching.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Different initial.
So it's a matter of how we can and be the ones to do it. I'm cautiously optimistic that and
Exactly. Right?
today,
So we have three, right?
more resources for gender inclusive housing. But they are still representing and serving the marginalized. Just for the kids. Downstairs, and recovery has worked from Shaw. So,
Are we getting a sense that we want a few more minutes, or is it about it? Yes? Okay. Okay. So I guess for anyone who is like tired of talking to their exhausted committee member, just you can go to a different one. But if you love yours, then you can stay. Okay. I'll give everyone like another like 2-3 minutes, and then I'll check back in.
Yeah. If you guys actually one last other question. So some of our director walks like have a training that's
yeah, that's the vibe that I got. And they also got they kind of, I'm sure they kind of static up and then they just kind of something else.
After doing it, I think it would lend some to I think virtual is more exciting, but some stuff to like break out.
Possibly provost, possibly. There's a lot of options out there. But, we've gotten some worrying reports in the last couple of weeks that actually there's like funding and cutting support to that sector. So,
but we also have
right after spring break. So, sorry. They want there's two floors right now.
Oh, another thing that's actually this is super important. Not for the guys, because I hope you don't. I've never been to unless like that's something you do. But
So I lived in GI last year. Yeah, exactly. General control is brand new. It's awful. And it's bad. Okay. Problem is that having the GI students already
Is that the new one? Or is it an actual like put up? Okay. Have you ever tried? Ever see that? That's what I'm trying to say. So at this yeah, don't let you go. I feel like the first time
Okay, so how is everyone feeling? Hello? Are we good? We want to wrap up? Oh, also someone's phone is going on. It's such a cute little ringtone. We want to wrap up. Do we want another few minutes? How's everyone feeling? Good? Good to go? Okay. So in that case, by show of hands, does anybody here want to do a rotation, or do we want to dive back into the agenda? Okay. Sounds like an why don't we get back to the agenda, because there's so few gov board members here anyway. We can try rotation when there's more people, but I think for now, and in the future, I mean, if people want to just sort of like, you know, when you've heard enough with one committee, you can just head over to the group without a rotation, that also works. So just sort of like, briefly, does anybody want to let me know some feedback? How are we feeling about that? Do we prefer that as a means of getting information? Mackenzie, see you shaking your head. You prefer having people talking? Yeah? Does anybody else prefer, so you do prefer having people talking to committee members, or like the committee members standing here and telling you what their report was?
I think it was nicer like being able to go.
Okay, so you prefer the circulation. Okay, so I'm having one podium, one circulation. How's everybody else feeling about it? So do you prefer? Yes.
I also like I just like hearing all the other senators' voices.
Okay, yeah, that was nice. I agree with that. Okay, anybody else have any feedback? Yes. Okay, all right, Mackenzie, looks like you're getting outnumbered out here. Yeah, it's good for us to know if we don't like it, if there are people who prefer to sit, and we can go back and forth. So we'll talk that through maybe at caucus. In the meantime, let's get back to the agenda so we can head out soon. So, voting items, the first two items are both minutes, so I'm going to see to pass them together. So does everybody here have a way to take a look at those minutes? If you have a computer, if you don't, I can pull them up on the screen. But maybe take the next minute or two just to look them through, see if there's anything that you need amended, and if there is, we can quickly fix those up and then pass these minutes through. Okay. I'm going to pull up the minutes from 2/8/23, but if anybody does not have access or doesn't have a computer with them and wants the other minutes, let me know and I can put those up instead. Yeah, Josh.
In last Senate's meeting, under discussion.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it's not, I'm trying to get there.
Okay, baseball.
Here, Josh, do you want me to just, I'll give you editing access and that way you can just go in. Does that work, Josh? Yeah, happy International Women's Day. Thank you, Ben, for shouting that out. Yeah. Oh, wait. Josh, did that work? Were you able to go in? No? I'll just fix it. Where is it? Can you point me to the line?
It is the last line of second.
Is it H-A-L? Oh, I don't even have. Okay, I don't have edit access, so actually, could you just, Lauren, do you have access to do it right now, or is it easier if we write things down? Because I don't have, I can request edit access. Well, not right now. Also, for the minutes on the 22nd, my blessing is going to try to figure out. Yeah, I still don't have access, but once I get access, I'll pass. December 22nd, yeah. School. Yeah.
Another thing that we could do in the future, just realizing now, is maybe next time when we're going through our minutes, we could just like kind of get up and like we can go straight to, Lana, if you feel comfortable, straight to minutes and we have a conversation. Just kind of like how the directors have their own circles. There could be a circle for anybody who wants to talk to you. Would you feel comfortable? If you don't, that's fine. If you, it's okay. We'll talk about it later. Okay. I still don't have. edit access. All right, so I'm gonna table discussion of the minutes just so we can get through the rest of the agenda, and then I'll get back to it later on when I have access. Okay, so that moves to our confirmations, and what we're gonna do is, why is this still? Does anybody who's a little bit more technologically savvy than me know how I can remove this thing from the side? Thank you. Okay, so with that, we have a number of confirmations, and unfortunately Mason is in, I believe he's in Georgia, and either way he is not in the state to actually present the confirmations, but I wanted everyone who is getting confirmed tonight to see all the really nice things that he said about all of you, because they are really, really sweet, and he would have said them in person if he could be here. So under every person who's getting confirmed in the agenda, I wrote down the things that he said, and hopefully it makes you a little happy that they were sweet. So I'm going to see if we can confirm everyone. So everyone who is getting confirmed tonight, could you stand up if you're here, just so we can get a sense of who is actually physically present? Hey, okay. All right, we've got three people who are getting confirmed right here in person. So congrats on getting selected to get confirmed to these committees. It's a big deal, and we're really excited that you're going to be representing all of us. So thank you for doing that. Okay, so first we've got Gloria. Gloria, if you want to come on up, there's a microphone right here. If you want to just introduce yourself and the committee that you're going to be on, and maybe like what made you want to apply for that committee.
Yeah. So hi everyone. My name is Gloria. I'm a junior poli-sci major. I am really excited to be in the Faculty Standards Committee. I think that there's a lot of work, especially Noor. If you guys are familiar with Noor, she's doing some really great work on sexual health resources and syllabus. So I think that kind of advocating for the students in that role is really exciting. So I'm really excited to meet you guys and work with this team.
Yay! Thank you, Gloria. Bless you. And I'm going to go through everyone, and then we'll confirm everyone together. I think that might be nicer. It might also be a little faster. So next we've got Noor, and most of us know Noor, but Noor, if you want to come on up and maybe at least tell us like why you wanted to be on this particular committee.
Sure. Can everybody hear me from here? Yeah. Okay, I don't have to go there. But as you know, my name is Noor, and I'm looking on the blind committee. It's a good question, but I'm just very kind of interesting and like able to be advocating on behalf of the students. And I just believe that I would be able to do that along with like kind of really saying no to some faculties and stuff like that when things are impacting the student body. So yeah.
Thank you, Noor. And last but not least, we have Zainab. Do you want to come on up and introduce yourself as well?
Hi everyone, my name is Zainab. I'm a freshman poli-sci major, and I'm committee rep now for the Curricula and Courses Committee. I applied because as a poli-sci major, I want to be as involved as I can on campus, and I thought it was a great opportunity, so here I am. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and welcome. And so now we're going to move into questions. So does anyone have any questions for any of the three people who are getting confirmed tonight? Or about the selection process? I kind of assumed that there wouldn't be, but okay, so any points of discussion? I will say, for discussion, at least from my end, it's really exciting to see people filling these positions. They're really important, and you're making really important contributions, both for the student body and for the organization. So thank you all for the work that you're doing. And we're really excited to have you present us. And so with that, I'm going to motion to pass all of these confirmations together by unanimous consent. Are there any objections to that? Okay, seeing none, you're all confirmed, so welcome officially. Okay, so do you want us to move past the motion?
Can we move past it for now while I figure out what it is?
Okay, so we're gonna table the motion to approve unauthorized purchase. That line, we're gonna wait for a while just because we need Jack and he's not here right now. So we're gonna move into a motion to approve up to $2,600 for the African American Cultural Center. Faye, do you want to maybe explain a little bit what that line item is and then allow people to ask questions? Yeah, up to you what you guys want to stand up? Would you guys like Tay to stand up?
Yeah?
Anyways,
Mackenzie.
Okay, yeah.
It's a quiet Senate today.
Okay, so hey everyone. The African American Culture Center is doing their Mr. and Miss ACC pageant, and they need just a few dollars to help fund the MCs, like transportation to get them here. So yeah, the event's free. It's over at the Recital Hall on April 27th, which is a Thursday, I'm pretty sure. So if you're free, you should definitely go, support. I'm not running, but you know I'll be there. Also, if you're interested, we need a lot more Misters, Eric. So you should you should apply if you feel like it. Oh, prize is $1,000. So I don't know, man.
How many do you currently have?
We only have one male. Okay. Second prize is 500. So either way, you making some money. But yeah, so that's what this is for. Does anyone have any questions?
How many females are there?
5.
It's just first.
Make it 6. Make it 6.
It's just first and second place anyway.
Third place gets a $25 Amazon gift card. Yeah. It's money.
It's good. It's good.
Other questions?
I have a question. Not from you specifically, but for people who might be interested, how do people sign up to get involved?
Involved, I mean, you can show up and watch. If you want like a planning process, it's kind of like underway. If you really, really do want to help, just reach out to me and I'll definitely like get you in touch with our team. And if you want to come on, just April 27th, I'm pretty sure it's at 6 to 8. And it's in the Recital Hall.
Okay, awesome. Does anybody else have any questions?
So talking about money, do you have specifically where this kind of amount will be going? Is it just overall for an event, or is there like specific things that they will be getting paid for?
Okay, so the $2,600 will be going towards transportation fees for the MCs, the hosts that we're having. She gave me like everything like budgeted out, so I can definitely read it out to you if you'd like.
I think it will not be necessary.
Okay. Yeah, but just like they're in New York, so like trade fair, yeah, all that. Getting them here, yeah. Yes. Oh, the doc? Yeah. Just okay. Anything else?
Any points of discussion?
Just to keep you speaking.
She's generous too.
But how do you think this kind of really fulfill the goal of like where it's going? And I don't know, it just kind of just share a little bit on why is it important to actually use that money to support?
Okay. Yeah, so this money is coming from we have a budget line for $5,000 for collaboration with the AECC, and we haven't done any events with them unfortunately this year. So the director reached out to me and was wondering if there's any way USG could support them, and I was like, we do have some money and any other support that you guys need. She was like, we will take the cash. So yeah, and I think it's important because we also haven't had our Mr. and Miss ACC pageant in a while, and we didn't have any reps at homecoming. So yeah, it's just important that we, pay mind to the culturally diverse university. No problem.
Okay, any other points of discussion? All right, seeing none, we're going to vote on the item just so everybody has an opportunity to get engaged. We're going to do a hand vote, so all in favor, what we'll do is I'll say all in favor, you raise your hand if you're in favor, all opposed, you raise your hand if you're opposed, and then abstentions. Is that clear to everyone who is a senator? So only if you're a senator, you get to vote. Okay, so all in favor of this motion passing, please raise your hands. Okay, and keep them up there. How are you tracking them? Or do you want to just wait and see who's opposed? Yeah, that's all. It just might take too long. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Ben is a math major, but we just won't take up his time. So put those hands down. And who is opposed? Raise your hand, please.
Okay, seeing none. Was that okay? Seeing none, and then abstentions. Okay, so I'm the only abstention as usual, and that leaves us pretty clear on who is where. All right, so that's great. Okay, awesome. So the next thing is a piece of legislation. I'm really excited because this is Eric's piece of legislation. So Eric, if you want to come on up and present a statement of position regarding election day as a day off, let me know what you want projected. I'm just going to pull it up and you just tell me where to go, okay?
All right,
you can
thank
use the mic and just do everything.
Hey team. So the name of the bill is a statement of position regarding, or the name of the statement of position, I guess, is a statement of position regarding election day as a day off. Basically, the idea for this legislation came this past election day for the midterms, because a lot of my friends had the day off at their other schools. URI is the first one that comes to mind because I have a lot of friends there. And we didn't, and I know USG makes a big effort every year to get people to register to vote and then to transport people to the polling places to get them to vote, because civic engagement is really important, as you all know, because you're here. But basically what the bill says is we should have either the day off or they should offer virtual. The day off would require them adding a day to the academic calendar, so removing a day we already have off, or offering virtual instruction on election days. So I could read through the bill if you'd like, or just give you the highlights. Thoughts? Highlights? All right. So all the sources for this are at the bottom, but in the middle there, I don't know which one it is, whereas voting numbers in Mansfield have been continuously decreasing. These numbers came from John Hyden, the external director. But as you can see, voting numbers have been going down the past few elections. This most recent one, it's about half of what it was in 2016. And then two whereas clauses down. UConn claims to believe voting matters is powerful and makes a difference, and you should vote in every election. That's a direct quote from one of the websites. So I think we have, and one more thing is right at the bottom there. The 2010 to 2011 USG Senate actually also tried to pass a similar piece of legislation, which is linked there if you guys want to look at it. But basically, I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. But I think we have a good standing here and a good chance of, putting up with a good fight at the very least. So, thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for presenting. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to questions. I highly encourage people to engage with it. I see a hand already. Josh, go ahead.
So, can you explain more on why the route you chose was the day off instead of listing specific policies for that day, like offering virtual instruction, offering leniency with assignments, so that students don't have to have starting the semester earlier, ending the semester later, or other consequences that can arise from having it as a day off?
Could you scroll down to the therefore, please? So I put cancel classes and amend the academic calendar or provide virtual instruction. So I guess another route could be offering leniency with assignments, like for the Save UConn, but those are the two I put in there.
Would you be willing to have an amendment that specifically says that the university should have leniency for assignments regardless of whether or not classes get canceled?
Just have leniency for assignments, full stop.
That's a different legislation. That's a different legislation. Different breakout.
I'm willing to consider it. The reason I didn't put it in there is because I think leniency with assignments is kind of like person by person, the definition may vary, I don't know. If anyone else has thoughts, let me know.
And so just my question regarding what would that look like for labs? Because lab cannot be done virtual. Will that be kind of an exception, or have you considered that?
Um,
Specific
So the question was, what about labs? And I hadn't really considered it, but do you have suggestions? Because, well, like for say UConn, like you had the option to just stay, right? So.
There was no option, like you have to leave it.
Right. So, yeah. That's one of those things where it's kind of like, yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
I mean, like, sorry. Yeah.
Ben, is your hand raised specifically about labs?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Is it
kind of related.
Because, yeah.
Actually, for labs, I couldn't vote on election day this year because of the lab. What I just did a mail-in ballot. Like, as much as it sucks to say, I feel like if you do have a lab, like, just do a mail-in ballot. Like, you know, most towns still allow it. Like, mine was sent from my town to UConn, and I just sent it back. And their ratio was good. But I definitely do agree that this is kind of a great piece of legislation just because, you know, I even noticed too a lot of my people like, nah, I got 3 classes, I can't skip all of them, which, you know, also pretty valid. Like, you know, if you miss one day, you're screwed. And that's like November. All think those, you know, classes get hard at that point. So I definitely do think it's great that you're doing this kind of legislation.
Thank you.
I also agree that it looks good, but if you could scroll up, there's one place where you have parentheses and then put site-specific law. So if you could either add in a law there.
Yeah, so that's a note at the bottom of the bill. I contacted Representative Greg Haddad. I'm waiting for him to respond to me because he told me what the bill was. I went looking for it, I couldn't find it, and then John went looking for it and he couldn't find it. So I will find it. Yes?
So you mentioned that 2010, 2011 tried to do the same thing. What exactly didn't work then?
That is a good question. I don't know. It doesn't say in the bill. It passed. It passed because it was in the archives.
Yeah, it passed here, but it wasn't implemented. So
But
we don't know why.
yeah, we don't know why. I don't know.
I can talk about why in discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Could you just explain a little more about like how the academic calendar works and why implementing this would like make it so that we would have to add another day?
So we have a set number of days that we can have off, was my understanding. Do you mind waiting for Abby to answer? All right. Other question? Oh, Ben, did you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of related to that, so I think I'll save it for this discussion that's happening.
Okay. We good?
Okay, so with that, we'll stay up because we'll move into discussion. So you get to lead the discussion. So yeah. Okay. So any points for discussion? Do you want to also an additional?
Okay, so for what this legislation is essentially doing is it is an amendment to the academic calendar unless we choose to do virtual classes, and I think that I would push you all as senators to kind of come to a more concrete resolution of what you want rather than kind of making your therefore and or statement. I would push you all to kind of choose one or the other because they have very different paths and they're two very different asks. So I would, one, push you as a Senate body to choose one of them. In terms of if you did decide to go with amending the academic calendar and making it a day off, there are 3 options. First, we could start the semester a day earlier, which would mean that we would start the semester on a Friday. We could lose a day of spring break, which would mean that one day during spring break we would have classes, so either the Monday or the Friday probably, which would mean that you would also lose a weekend if you're flying. Or we would have to have exams on a Saturday and then makeup exams on a Monday, which would also push into commencement, so the entire commencement schedule would have to be pushed back, so graduating seniors would be able to have their exams taken before they graduate. So that's kind of what the academic calendar change would look like, so I will leave the decision to you. So Thanksgiving break, sorry, not spring break.
Ben?
Yeah, so just to add to that, because I remember my freshman year having, unless I cover it. I had some academic calendar discussions my freshman year. And for lab purposes, actually, the University Senate and administration generally prefer that if you take away a Tuesday, you replace it with a Tuesday. So what most schools do, I actually checked on URI specifically because you mentioned it, is they don't have a Monday or Tuesday for fall break. So Thanksgiving break starts on Wednesday for a lot of schools that get extra days off throughout the semester. So if we were to go down the route of election day being off, that is likely the implication.
Sydney?
And then the other thing was absence. So there was, okay, you.
So for additional context, I'm on the Student Welfare Committee of University Senate, and no, that's Student Life, Student Welfare. And they have been talking about putting in a fall break, which would be Indigenous Peoples Day on October 9th, because there's a big stretch of the fall semester where we don't have any break until Thanksgiving. And they've been talking about if they do that, should they either take away that Monday of break or add a day at the end of the year and change finals. So they already are talking about amending the academic calendar for the fall. So especially in context of what Ben was saying, I think right now they are looking to advocate for taking that Monday. So then if you also cued into that conversation or like, hey, election day, then we have reason why we would have that Monday and that Tuesday on and take away from break. One thing about the timeline for that is, I forget the lady who manages the academic calendar, but basically she said in those meetings that she's like, I have the ultimate power just to like edit the calendar and post that. That's what she said in the meeting, and everyone was like, yay! But no, here's the thing, is sports specifically ask for the academic calendar like years in ahead, because they need to schedule all their conferences. So they really do need like a 3-year date to when they're like establishing this is when we can change it, solely because people ask for those calendars in advance. So if this is something that you would want to do to have a day off, the timeline for amending the academic calendar, you wouldn't really see that till 3 years from now probably. But if you were to do a virtual option, that could potentially be implemented sooner. But I just wanted to add some of that conversation in student welfare right now.
Yeah, so I forgot to answer the question of why the previous legislation didn't pass, and it didn't pass for exactly those reasons. There isn't a lot of appetite for amending the academic calendar, and whoever that is does not have the power to amend the academic calendar. It's within the University Senate bylaws, like the number of days in the semester, when the reading days are, like exam days, that's all like codified. So it would require, I'm pretty sure, an amendment to the University Senate bylaws, so we would have to present it to the Senate Executive Committee of the University Senate, who would then decide if they even want to pursue this at all, and then it would end up probably going to the Scholastic Standards Committee, probably not student welfare. Yeah, she can edit the website, but
like I can, edit the USG we can edit the USG website to say the sky is orange. It doesn't make sense.
I have so many funnel information I cannot make this decision.
all right, that was it.
Hey, so I just want to mention where I said I think not amending the academic calendar, like going like a virtual route would be better. And speaking on labs, I mean we were online for 2 years, and during the pandemic, and we did labs online. At least for like Gen Chem, they do like makeup labs where you watch the video and answer questions. That counts as a lab. So I think labs won't be that big of an obstacle. Maybe they just have lab that day.
I did not know that. Thank you.
Also, a lot of departments have policies where they have simulation makeups for lab, or they can just cancel labs. They can offer more labs because they know snow days exist, they follow in the spring, and they can just get rid of labs. Especially if they're accredited. They can just be like, oh, this is not an accredited lab, we'll get rid of this one, we'll all lab standards.
Or maybe change just the date. So like sometimes when people are not able to make it to a specific section, you could actually go to a different section on like the human data and stuff. So like maybe either make it virtual or actually have an back and forth or actually join another section specifically for during that.
So I noticed obviously at UConn, like when I talk to my friends who go to other schools, they have a lot of like random holidays that they get off in addition to like election day and they're talking about Indigenous Peoples Day. So what I'm saying is hypothetically, I mean, I'm not saying necessarily this to be better or worse, but to implement things like that along with other holidays too, to make up, like if we did a week, if we started a week earlier, like a lot of other schools do, that would have like 5 extra days that you could put towards, like one towards election day, one towards. So in order to implement those things, I feel like that could also be a possibility.
Thank you.
Would it be possible that instead of like making the day like no school at all, we could just make it an excused absence? Like, is there a way for the university as a whole to recognize like one specific thing and have everyone excuse it? Like, I don't know if that's possible.
There's no mandatory attendance.
There's no mandatory attendance policy. UConn is a no attendance university. So if they were to do that, it would just be functionally a day off. So it doesn't really get around the issue at all.
There could be something in between in the sense that like I do know a number of professors who do that loophole where it's like, oh, I'm not taking attendance, but you get participation, and if you're not there that day, you didn't get your participation grade. So I wonder maybe there's something with like excusing on the participation grade aspect.
That's the professor back there.
Yeah, it would be, and that's always the hardest thing is trying to ask professors to adjust because they do have academic freedom, so, yeah.
And the university can't be in the
So this is more of a suggestive direction here. Maybe tailoring the legislation to be suggestive to the professors in a way which, hey, you know, it's probably best for you to give the students the day off, or, you know, work around it. I think, you know, having a bill that's more suggestive and asking for something that we want as students rather than requesting that day off may be a good place to start, because most professors are accommodating to what the student wants, right? So I think, especially us in this room, we want to vote. And if we voice that, I think that'll get us a lot further than going right for that day off immediately, right?
That is an option. You could ask like the Senate Executive Committee, who like runs the University Senate, to have them release a statement calling faculty to, like, I don't know, whatever you want, like you saying like excuse students or something like that.
Right, post assignments online for that day, or you know, extend the reading time a week opposed to having something due on that day. Try and not have assignments due on that day, et cetera, et cetera.
I like that. Thank you.
Just to add on to that, I like that idea a lot, and I think we can present it in a way where, like, because our system doesn't vote a lot, and we need more of like young people voting, there'll be a way to like kind of push towards that. So.
Thank you.
I think if they're already working on the calendar, you might have a slightly better chance, but also I think if your goal is we want people to vote, professors are going to be finicky. Some of them are going to be great, some of them aren't. If you want people to vote, I think your legislation should focus more on the day off, personally.
Thank you.
I was actually gonna go for the like offering other options aspect, because like while they are like making the, or like in talks about like the academic calendar, I just think in general it'd be easier easier and like, or even like faster just to be able to get a statement saying like, hey, like, be lenient, we want people to vote, basically. And also like, even if you're like packed with classes on a Tuesday or something, like if you have, like unless you're really unlucky, not every single one of those professors is going to be like, no, you still have to come in class in person. So like you'll probably still have a really good chance of having some break during the day where you can go and vote. So I think like that should be enough, even if you have a lab or something.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's not
Hey y'all. So I think, just voicing an opinion here, I think that this conversation, plus the fact that I think that there are doubts about the veracity or the citation on that last line there. You know, if two people can't find the law, maybe the law isn't there. And so I think that this may benefit from another 2 weeks of reconsidering this after, sending this back for some edits and reconsidering it after break. I'm not sure what anyone else's thoughts are on the matter.
So lots been said. I wonder, Eric, we can hear a little bit your thoughts. A lot of people said a lot of things, gave us a lot of thank yous. What are your thoughts right now?
Just the law is there, Ben. We don't know where it is. Greg hasn't responded yet. Mr. Haddad hasn't responded yet, but it is there. In the abyss of the legislative archives. But it sounds like a lot of people. Or the majority of people, aren't a fan of the day off and are pushing more towards the statement from the what was it, the executive?
Senate Executive Committee.
Senate Executive Committee. So we can amend it. How do we do that?
Would you like to make an amendment right now?
Can
Do that.
what I motion to
So
amend?
yeah, so if you motion to amend, it's friendly because it's literally yours, so we don't even have to go through a process. Otherwise, if somebody else wants to make a different amendment, they can do that, but then it's more, so do you want to make it?
I'd like to motion to amend it.
Okay, let me know where I think I have it. Okay, which part did you want to
The therefore. That the school should, or that the Senate Executive Committee
The undergraduate student government calls upon the Senate Executive Committee.
Do you want to say like to make it like a formal announcement? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
to offer or to suggest that teachers offer students the day off to go vote.
The only issue with that wording is that it still sounds like you're asking for the night off.
Wonderful.
Participate in election. How does everybody feel about that language? Yeah? No objections? Anyone want to make any amendments to that language before we vote on it? See, I think maybe.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say is, I don't think, at least the one I'm getting at, I don't think that people don't want to get given the day off. I think the consequence of having the day off is the problem. So I feel like, I don't know, like what I was saying before, for example, having a week, or us starting a week earlier, you know, it's not only this as a holiday, but like other holidays as a holiday. I think this is a good idea, but I would be also, I think we could discuss other things too.
All right. Thank you.
I definitely agree that there need other days off as well, but I think that we definitely entitled into a current conversation with the different legislation. But in terms of social legislation, can we also look at the title? Are we going to keep it as a day off, or will we change it?
Good point. Do I have to motion to amend again? And you have thoughts for it?
He wants to
Wait,
change it.
did we pass the previous?
Well, it doesn't have to be voted on because it's Eric's. Like, it's not somebody else suggesting it. So again, this is Eric's, we don't vote. So do you want us to just say election day accommodations?
Yes.
Look good?
Your thoughts? Wonderful. Josh?
You back in your airport though?
Yes.
I think that you should stress that faculty should accommodate students and suggest holding classes virtually, not starting with holding classes virtually.
So to suggest, so are you saying you want to say to suggest that faculty accommodate students?
Should accommodate students in participating election day and suggest as an option holding classes virtually. So I think there are ways to do it. Faculty can choose just to cancel election as an accommodation.
Eric, is this something that you would want?
To basically make it more broad as to what they can do, and not just say they should hold classes virtually, not competing with people.
I'm open to that. I like it.
Okay, all right, so let's workshop this language relatively quickly. Okay, so to suggest,
Let me basically just post
to call faculty to give students flexibility.
Yeah, to basically call faculty to accommodate students so they can participate in election day.
Or through other accommodations.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, what are your thoughts?
It's beautiful. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Irene.
I see Angela's.
Yes.
Is there a period now before either?
Yes.
Where is it? Sorry.
After a day?
It's a comma.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
I think it might be worth mentioning specifically asynchronous classes because it doesn't really save me time in my day to go vote if I'm sitting in front of a computer all day to take class versus sitting in a lecture hall.
So asynchronous instead of virtual?
How do you feel about that, Eric?
It works for me.
I also think that's a really good idea. That's really the best choice.
Thank you. Yes.
Motion to strike the words site-specific law and the parentheses.
I don't think you can make a motion.
Eric,
I invite a senator to make the motion.
I'll make the motion. Thank you, Ben.
It no longer says it. Okay, any other comments or questions before we head to a vote? I see Josh has another hand.
That's the name of the bill that Representative Haddad gave me, but it's not. I wanted the actual language from the bill, and I don't have it.
I mean, I can look it up. We can look it up.
Okay, I think we can do this off of the Senate text. Does anyone else have any comments or questions right now? Okay, so with that, I think we can go to a vote. Any last things you'd like to say before we vote on this, Eric? Final say.
Thanks for your input. That's all. Thanks, guys.
Okay, okay, so with that, we're going to do a hand vote. So all in favor, please raise your hands and don't be shy. And keep them out there for a second. Okay. And then, yeah, if you want to become
Keep raising up real high. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Okay, and then all opposed, please raise your hands. But honestly though, this is what we do want to see people actually like getting a little contentious with our legislation. This is really good. I want to say it's the first time I'm really proud to see some contentiousness. So, good. Do you want to, did you write down, who it is, just so we put the minutes?
This is going to really test my knowledge of names to see.
Actually, you know what would be easier? If anybody who voted against this, could you just go see Lana at the end of Senate? That way, it's just easier for everyone, right? Yeah. Okay. And then all abstentions, please raise your hands. Okay, so we see 5 abstentions. So I guess, yeah, for this one, we'll talk through and find a better process. But for now, just go see whoever is, if Lana's not there at the end, whoever is there for minutes, just go see them, let them know. Okay, awesome. So I believe that was a pass and go, right, for your counting?
15 to 5.
15 to 5, and how many abstentions? 5. So 15, 5, 5. All right, so by a vote of 15 to 5, this legislation passes. Congratulations, Eric. Okay, so with that, we have one more piece of legislation on the agenda, and that is a statement in support of the Stores Road Safety Improvement Project. So I see Lauren is here. If you'd like to present it, Mike over there, and let me know however you want me to scroll as you go through presenting.
Okay.
Also, do you want to introduce yourself to the Senate?
Thank you. Hi guys. Is it on?
Tap.
Yeah, now it is. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Lorian. I'm the Deputy Director of External Affairs. So basically, this is a statement in support of the Stores Road Safety Improvement Project. So essentially, Mansfield is attempting to put a sidewalk in around 4 corners, that sort of area, because the shoulder of the road's really narrow. And as you can see, we've had instances of students dying. It's a pretty dangerous area. So Mansfield wants to correct that and put a sidewalk in. And they've asked us to put out a statement of support to sort of help move that along in the actual legislation, like getting that done in the real world. So this is just a statement saying that we support it, we think it's a great idea. It's more accessible for students because buses don't always go in that area. And again, like I said, it's pretty dangerous, and I'm sure most of you have been in that area, so I think it's a pretty good idea.
Awesome, thank you, Lori. Does anyone have any questions for Lori about this legislation?
So what does this statement entitle, and just basically where is this going? Are you presenting this to your recipients, or is like just handed it down at the field, or is it just this statement? It's just basically someone that's going, and are you calling on the university to actually act or do anything?
So we're not actually calling on the university to do anything. This is more in, so the town of Mansfield has presented this plan to Representative Courtney's office. And so they're trying to make that happen. And if they have the backing of UConn students, and specifically the undergraduate student government, it's gonna make it a little bit easier to move that along, because essentially we're the ones that are gonna use the sidewalk the most. That's the area that, you know, students populate. So it makes sense for us to say, yeah, we support that, you should do that. Did I answer the question? Okay, yeah.
What is the 4 corners?
So.
You know where Hops is? The company.
Like,
the company.
Coast.
And CVS.
The other CVS.
It's kind of further away, but it's by like.
We're like an automobile shop.
Ash Charter
Yeah.
off Discovery, turn right.
Thank you.
This is town that's going to be making this out, right?
Yeah.
They're paying for it?
Yeah, the university is paying for this.
And you mentioned going beyond that stretch of the road, so are they going to be doing projects in other areas too, you know?
So right now they're attempting to put this sidewalk in by 4 corners. So they're not looking at anything else, But there's a lot of other areas that aren't very safe on campus that we think probably, yeah, that's mainly what we had talked to them about, and sort of like around Hunting Lodge Road, there's no sidewalks. Yeah, so they're only doing this right now, but in our statement we wanted to include like, you should be doing more probably because students do need sidewalks, like it's not safe.
Yeah, that was part of legislation I was drafting, was trying to get like a hog intersection, so like we press the button and it makes basically a red light, only when you cross.
That's
so
smart.
It's not good lights, because all of up and down the people on campus intersections, you press the button and it blinks yellow. Cars don't have to go, they don't have to stop. Because on the Stanford campus, they're hot lights, it's a red light. It blinks, you have the stop sign, and then you stop. It's all good.
That's a good idea.
With a camera, so if you blow through it, your license plate gets tagged.
I think we can definitely work on that, and I think External would love to talk to you about that. I think that would be probably a different piece of legislation, just because this is only in favor of the specific thing that they're trying to get done right now. But I do think that's a really good idea.
Sorry, I just want to ask, so they're like building new like apartments for like students to live in? Like is that like what the units are? I want to know what that is. Like I just find that interesting. Like I've never heard that they were like planning on building something. So like
It's my understanding that they are. To be honest with you, I don't know like a lot about that development, but I do know that there is something going in. I'm pretty sure it's new dorms, or like not dorms, but like apartment buildings or something like that.
I just never knew that was
Wait, no, this is kind of cute.
Yeah.
Can I comment on that? I know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Will has an answer.
Yeah. There's actually 3 different properties right now. I don't know the exact locations, but it's private companies that are building student welcoming living. So yeah, there's quite a few different spots where private companies have come in and committed to building condos and apartments. So
This is so cute.
it's coming. No, it's not going to be affordable. So we already know that.
Any other questions? Okay, I do have one question, which is, if other senators want to get involved with your work, Lorian, how can they get involved?
Come to External or email me.
Okay, awesome. So with that, we're going to move into discussion. Are there any comments or I see Josh immediately hand.
One last question.
Oh, okay.
What is External?
Right now it's on Wednesdays at 5. We did not have one this week. It got a little bit funky with the Save UConn stuff, but we are going to be back on track on Wednesdays, 5 p.m.
Okay, I see Adam has it.
Maybe it's super minor, but I think there's a typo on the top, whereas that you can see the very top one. It says student safety off-campus team still works in a constant concern. Is I figure it's
Should be is, yes. Thank you very much. We fixed that. Thank you so much.
Good catch.
Yeah.
So I'll make a suggestion because obviously there's a concern for other areas. I would consider not just handing over a statement, but having conversations of this being a good starting point and maybe getting feedback at the same time as if to know if there's going to be future plans to reconstruct other areas. Because, as the student government, we do still have a little bit of leverage. If they're looking for a statement, obviously they need us just as much as we need them, so.
Yeah, definitely. And we've spoken, obviously this is very specific for the reason we're putting the statement out, but we've also spoken to Representative Greg Haddad and sort of talked about student safety, and they're definitely interested in developing Mansfield a little bit because, as you know, this is pretty rural area. So we have been in conversation with representatives in the area about how we can benefit UConn students. So that's a great idea. That is something we're in the process of doing.
2 comments and then another comment. Musa, the transportation recreation coordinator, would love to sponsor this, not
Hello. Okay. So the Transportation and Recreation Coordinator, Musa, definitely get in contact with him because he'd love to sponsor it, probably.
Okay.
Definitely.
So should we get, sorry to interrupt you, should we contact him before we try to pass it?
No, he can just be added as a sponsor. Yeah. Secondly, there is a Parking and Transportation Committee. I don't know what they're under, happening during spring break, and me and Musa both can't go, and we've been trying to get another student rep on there, so I don't know if anyone from external or something, but it'd be great if it was presented in that committee.
Can you let me know when that is? And I will see.
Totally. If anyone else really advocates for a transportation, let's go. Lastly, if I could invite someone to amend, I guess, the whereas clause that is the last one, is just a grammar, reduces students apostrophe the University of Connecticut's apostrophe and the town of Mansfield's impact, because I don't think we want to reduce students.
Maybe you don't.
I mean, I love you guys, but
Yeah.
so yeah, S apostrophe the University of Connecticut's apostrophe, or yeah, apostrophe
comma.
yeah, the University of Connecticut apostrophe S.
That looks so bad. Yeah.
What is that?
Why can't we change the wording grammar?
Hey, I just don't want to reduce you guys, and I don't want the university to get ideas. That's it.
Recycle the students.
Wait, reduces students.
It's because it's the students of the university that have any sort of impact.
I don't like that one.
Neither do I. Can we change it to providing students with the means of transportation outside of carbon-producing methods
Reduces the impact
of the changing climate force or is that?
When you said they filled it. When they filled out the wrong form, whose fault was that? Like, did you guys not send out the new form, or was it actually their fault now?
Personally, I think that was partially their fault for filling out the wrong form, because they were sent the correct form, but also we did not clearly label the form. We had to leave the fall form open for another group that had submitted in the fall and needed to resubmit additional information. So we had to leave that open, and we did not clearly label that you should not be submitting in this form. So we did, actually the day after this was submitted, I changed the language on the form to make it clear that you should not submit.
As a student who actually in student course, it was very clear that there are deadlines, and I think we all have received, even when you go to the website, the calendar at the end has that deadline of like you're no longer like submitting requests, and I think that also to some extent I recall that receiving an email saying even that the form will actually be closed and like you would not be able to actually request funding until December for like solo planning events and stuff like that. So I feel like in general, to some extent, while this is kind of really kind of complicated situation and like there's a lot of times and stuff like that. So I'm kind of, I don't know, just feel a little bit of hesitation in terms of like holding a whole like accountability for it, while from the beginning it was, I mean, also to some extent, when at that moment this happened, while understandable as a student leaders, like you will do all you can, but I think the rules are even way clear from the beginning that reimbursement does not happen, and like other situation includes of like submitting that even maybe a little bit later to be able to kind of do it. I don't know, it's just there's so many kind of question marks in regard of like why would that still be kind of have to do it. So.
Yeah, so that's a fair point. Here's what I will say to that. The group submitted at a time when the form was open. They just submitted the fall form instead of the spring form. So they submitted at a time when the spring form was open, and they were confused about which form was which. I will also say, at this point, the money has been spent because the judiciary told them 2 days before their event that they could. And while there is certainly a question of should they have done that, they did that, right? My personal feeling is that now that we've told the group that they can spend the money and they spent the money, it would be really irresponsible of us not to reimburse them. That's my personal perspective on the matter. That's why I would encourage you to vote in favor of this.
Not, I feel like, I think I'm loud, can nobody hear me? But I think it just like, in terms of here's the thing, like, you're spending money that you don't have, while yes, you have the yes to actually do so. I know like sometimes it takes longer to do so and stuff like that, but wouldn't that be kind of a little bit more complicated in terms of like, you're spending money that you don't have even though you have the yes to do so? Because like every student organization at UConn now have the yes to actually ask for money, and they have the yes as long as they actually complete some of the requirements to receive the money. But yet nobody is actually going to reimburse us employees at like $20,000 just because they are allowed to do so.
So, right, I mean, the timeline of this is that the group was told on, so their event was on the 12th. They were told on the 10th, buy it and we'll reimburse you. So, you know, they were told because of the timeline constraints and because the judiciary decided that, that's how we would have to pay for that. The judiciary decided they should get funding for this. And so they told on the 10th, buy it and we'll reimburse you. And then they bought it. And now they're asking to be reimbursed. Okay, I'm just gonna go down the line here.
Through our funding procedures, was the request approved in the end? If the answer is yes, there's no reason why we shouldn't hold up our end of the bargain and pay for it.
An appealed request was approved. I think that should be the exact date, but it was after the event that we did approve it. We approved it in the form, but the judiciary voted to approve it 2 days before the event.
So it was approved before the event.
Indeed.
So we should go for it.
And did it come out of the organization's account or someone's personal?
I do not. They have not yet given us that documentation. They give it to us after we
One thing that I would, if this is a personal account too, I think we kind of have to keep in the perspective that we're all college students. No matter what student you are, like where your background is, losing $1,100 from any type of account is a big hit towards us. But also, TEDx UConn is one of the bigger organizations on campus, and they do so much good things towards our campus. And I'm assuming that they've done, reimbursement things before, and they've been through this process before. So I believe that, just because it happened once doesn't mean we should automatically be like, sorry, no. It's just they do so much, and I just feel like, again, like the judiciary branch did say, yeah, you guys could do it. At that point, even if it's like bad that we do it, it's kind of on, us that, we said yes.
Yeah, I will just add, the point of me coming up and saying, here's how we're stopping from doing this again is precisely not to set a precedent that this is okay. Because it's not okay to be approving things after the event. But I'm hoping that we will decide today that it is worth it in this case. I'm gonna go to Tassin, because Tassin's been waiting for a while.
Thank you. So I think something I want to first establish, like he was talking about, we're all college students. I feel like we all have a level of empathy for each other. We all got lives, we're all doing stuff, along with extracurriculars like this, and something like this is a mistake that, like, if you think about like why it happened, they had it on time. They didn't mean to, you know what I mean? And the funds that we're talking about, this is funds that we pay for, that's set aside for things like this. They're not being used for things like this. What's the point of having them? You know what I mean? And like, TEDx UConn, like y'all are saying, like, it's a big organization. What they're doing is ideally for the good of the student body, right? Like, we're not just out here spending money for no reason. And so I feel like just having that understanding that, this money is going towards something positive. This is meant for us students. If we're if we're not giving that money to these people to do it, like, I understand policy is a thing. Like, yeah, you have to follow the rules. You have to try to make sure you are in the lines, all that kind of stuff. And their intention, everything they did, making steps towards that. They didn't, misuse anything, they didn't irresponsibly use any money. You know, I feel like just having that understanding that we're doing this for a reason, this money's here for a reason, towards a positive cause, to me is like, you know, like enough to be like, okay, I understand what is happening.